Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This time, I'm going to talk about one of my favorite radio shows. It's called the GI Journal. So if you were a soldier back in the 1940s, you may have heard this wherever you were stationed.
The GI Journal goes to press. Yes, sir, it's the GI Journal again, the special service radio newspaper of the AEF.
Now this was a program solely intended for soldiers and was not broadcast to the general public. The humor leaned towards them and they appreciated it. They were encouraged to send in any gags or jokes that they thought up, and those would be added to the show if appropriate. The original editor, as they called the host, was Kay Kaiser, and he used his band for the singing and musical numbers. When Kay wasn't available, the next on the list was Bing Crosby, who had been a popular and well-known singer and actor for many years. If Bing was busy elsewhere, then Bob Hope, who was a great entertainer of the troops, would come in and do his thing, tell jokes, sing, and chase after the female reporters.
Fellas, for the past few weeks, we've had Bing Crosby and Bob Hope to fill for you as editors of your GI Journal. And now we're happy to welcome back a man who can really fill you full. Your original editor-in-chief, Kay Kaiser.
Hiya, man. Well, it sure is a man-sized help and a pleasure for the old festa to be back again on the job. Editing your GI Journal, you know this is the camp newspaper of the whole United Nations, yes?
Besides the editors, there was the roving reporters who would phone in and talk to the editors from out in the field. Naturally, being a radio show, they were just standing beside them. There were regulars like Jerry Colonna and Rochester, and then special guest reporters like Andy Devine and the great Gildersleeve.
This is your five-star final, men, and standing by are your five-star reporters. There's lovely Linda Darnell in charge of all the letters from overseas. And there's not so lovely Ishka Bibble editing the poems sent in for our poetry page. There's Mel Blanc and Harry Mitchell to set the type up, and our roving reporter, Professor Colonna, who's overdue with a hot news story right now. Hello?
Hello, Chief. This is Colonna, your star reporter. I'm idling along at a P-38 at 950 miles an hour.
950 miles an hour?
Of course, I'll pick up speed when I turn on the other motor. Boy, what a plane. There's a big forest down below, and I'll just fly right through it.
Colonna, those trees will cut your plane in half.
Oh, don't be silly. Here I go, right through them.
Don't do it. Your P-38 will be soup.
What do you know? Split P-38.
Now,
This would be followed by a song played by the band. After that would be some poems from the soldiers being read by Ishka Bibble, a call-in from the roving reporter again, then another musical interlude.
Presses, hold up, presses. A couple of good poems just arrived for our muses from the muses column.
well, set him up in the other rack, Ishka Bibble.
First one is from Private Harry Cowan up in Iceland. Title, The Flea. Poem. Here's to the happy bounding flea. You cannot tell a he from a she, but he can tell, and so can she.
Oh, that's good. A little spicy, but good.
Now here's another contribution from Seaman Dick Dutton in the Pacific. Title, The Sneeze. Poem. I sneezed the sneeze into the air. It fell to earth, I know not where. But you should have seen the looks on those in whose vicinity I snowed.
Well, get out of here, Ish, before I braid your nose. Isn't that silly? Remember, men, don't let Ish discourage you. If you got any kind of poetry you think we'd enjoy here, just email your old editor here at the GI Journal, and we'll be glad to set it up on our poetry page. Just address us at GI Journal, Special Service, Los Angeles, USA.
Hello, Chief.
Colonna, you're supposed to be overseas with the CBs getting a story about their construction battalion.
That's just what I'm doing, Chief. I'm over here right now with the Seabees.
Professor, oh, kiss me again.
Of course, there are some she-bees around here, too.
Yeah, but don't get stung, pal. What are all the CBs doing now, Colonna?
Well, right now, all the men are lined up.
We want Parker House fun! We want Parker House fun! We want Parker House fun!
What was that?
Roll call.
Oh, say, Say, doing that hard construction work is really tough. How are the weather conditions?
Well, Chief, we're up to our knees in mud. Yes, indeed, we're up to our knees in mud.
Why? Big rain?
No big crap game.
Say, Kelowna, where were you when brains were being given out?
Yes, I thought they were lining up for chow.
Well,
Letters to the editor came next with Linda Darnell. There were some serious ones about their jobs and some funny ones which were received to varying degrees of laughter.
well, it's just about time now for printing up some letters to the editor. And here's Linda Darnell with the mailbag. Hiya, Sugar.
Hiya, Sugar.
Oh, sugar is sweet.
It's also lumpy.
Please. That's no way to talk to me, Linda. After all, is there anything wrong with my face? Is there anything wrong with my figure? Is there anything wrong with my personality? Is there...
Kay, stop a minute.
And give you a chance to answer, nothing doing.
Oh, anyway, I'm awful glad to see you back, Kay. You know, Bing Crosby and Bob Hope have been editing G.I. Journal while you've been gone.
Tell me, how did they act with you, those Darth and Lamour bodyguards?
Well... well, to tell you the truth, Kay, Hope acted like a wolf. Then along came Crosby, and he acted like a wolf, too. Now, look, how are you going to act?
Well, I ain't saying, but we run in packs, you know.
Yeah, so I learned. But getting back to business, Kay, when do I get to read our letters to the editor?
Well, right now, Sugar, who's the first one from?
Colin Guptill at APO 980 is still on the warpath with more mosquito stories. Now, Colin says that a farmer nearby was attracted by the sound of his milk cow's bell, and upon close investigation, he found that 2 mosquitoes had eaten the cow and were ringing the bell for the calf.
Well, that doesn't ring true to me. You know, if those mosquitoes were as smart as Colin claims, why didn't they wait for the calf to grow up?
That's enough. Look, Kay, you read this next one. It's from APO 980.
And it's signed by Sunshine Mattingly, Blockhead Bowles, Let's Go Lasco, Chief Supity, and Bunghead Auburn. Quote, just a request from 5 lonely technician 7th graders asking for that must be a DI joke. I don't get it, fellas. See, I'm just civilian 3rd class. I don't understand. Well, anyway, let's see. It's a request from 5 lonely technician 7th graders asking for a song from the most lovely and gorgeous Georgia Carroll. She has the same effect on us lonesome snafus and sad sacks as Frank Sinatra has on those gals at home.
Look, fellas, don't forget our address if you other men have any requests. Just address us a card to G.I. Journal, Armed Forces Radio, Los Angeles, USA.
Requests from the soldiers will be answered next, like for a detective story, a cheesy commercial, or a Western drama.
Oh, Bing, here's a letter from Sergeant Carl Warren, who's in the Solomons. The sergeant says he's read an article about the Quiz Kids radio program, and he'd like the G.I. Journal to give a sample of that show.
The Quiz Kids, huh? Well, we can make up like children, Georgia. You put a ribbon in your hair, I'll slip into a 3-cornered sarong. Take it away!
The Whiz Kids are on the air. How do you do, ladies and gentlemen? This is Dr. Ish K. Bibble here once again with his itsy-bitsy geniuses, the Whiz Kids. Introduce yourself, kiddies.
I am Georgia Carroll, and I am 4 years old, and I am from Texas.
They mature pretty quickly down there, don't they?
Quiet, you bad boy. Now introduce yourself.
I am Bingham Crosby.
How old are you?
I am very young, very young.
Yeah, you can tell that. His hair hadn't started growing in yet.
No.
And now, children, let's get on with the program. Incidentally, listeners, these kids here are so sophisticated and so advanced they don't even believe in a stork.
Are you kidding?
All right, children, now for the first question. If someone asked you how to go to New York from Los Angeles, how would you go? I see Bingham has his hand up.
Well, first I would drive to Albuquerque, then I'd drive to St. Louis, then I'd drive to Chicago, and then I'd drive to New York.
Very good, my child, very good. But tell me, where did you get all that gas?
I got a hangover.
And now for a question on music.
I know.
No, not you, Bingham. You, Georgia. Georgia, you tell us now, what are the 4 types of singing voices?
The 4 types of singing voices?
Yes.
soprano, alto, bass, and Sinatra.
Very good. Now, who knows what has 4 legs, a tail, and runs fast?
Leave me out of this.
See what you mean.
There was the advice to the Lovelorn column done by Arthur Q. Bryan, whose voice might sound a little familiar to you.
Well, look-a here. It's our own G.I. Beatrice Fairfax to answer your problems of the heart, fellas. Arthur Q. Bryan.
Thank you, Mr. Crosby. And greetings, soldiers, sailors, and Marines.
I presume you have a touching problem this evening, Arthur?
Correct, Mr. Crosby. It's a letter from Private Woo Corbett in Alaska.
Tell me what's his trouble.
Well, it seems this fellow Woo would like to pitch a little.
Very natural.
But Private Woo would like to know how to choose the right girl. He wants to know if beauty is very important.
And what do you think?
Oh, I think beauty is very important. Take my case, for example. My wife, Rosie Love, didn't have much personality. She wasn't very clever, and she wasn't particularly talented. But when it came to her face, boy, was hers a mess.
Arthur, how about describing your Rosie Love to me?
You want me to describe my Rosie Love to you?
That I do.
Okay, Mr. Crosby. Gee, you might even like her. You're a well-known horse lover.
Your inference, I take it, is that your Rosie Love is, shall we say, on the plump side?
Oh, you can say it if you like, but her side ain't the only thing that's plump.
I'm surprised you didn't change your mind about marrying her and leave her at the altar at the wedding.
Well, I was going to, but as I walked away, something seemed to pull me towards her. Something deep down in me.
Have you any idea what it was?
Yep. She had a firm grip on my suspenders.
I bet you married her for her money.
Yeah, I did, and she had a lot of money, too.
Loaded, huh?
Oh, boy, loaded. It was the usual success story. She went from dog's tails to ghosts.
Dog's tails to ghosts?
Yeah, you know, wags to witches.
The Sad Sack, played by Mel Blanc, would show up with another chapter in his life story.
Suppose you have another episode of your life. Well, if you insist, what do you mean, suppose? Weren't you at rehearsal?
In a little country town just outside of, our baby is born. After 2 or 3 days go by, the father brings a bundle of joy into his mother and says,
I know that Maresy dotes and Dozy dotes, but what do you feed a pig?
The sad sack shoots up like a young sprout, 2 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet. One day his father says to him,
You're growing up, my boy. Look at that. You're 5 feet tall now.
5 feet. I'm getting to be a big. I'm almost as tall as ye. It's too bad 4 feet 6 inches of it. It's my head.
One day the sad sack is standing in front of the fruit market whistling. He moves suddenly, and the fruit dealer yells at him,
Hey, come back here. You just steal my bananas. Why, don't be silly. I wouldn't do such a... The very eye... I guess I should have peeled them first.
In school, the sad sack is shy and bashful. One day the teacher sends him on an errand that should have taken 5 minutes. An hour and a half later, he comes back, and she says,
Jack, you've been gone over an hour. What happened?
Oh, I stopped in at the library. I've been reading a somebody locked me in the canteen.
The editor would give his thanks to all the actors and bid the soldiers a fond farewell until the next time.
We'll be back with you for another issue soon. This is Kay Kaiser saying so long, everybody. The GI Journal is going to...
Well, that's what an episode of the GI Journal would sound like. Naturally, I had to abridge a few things, otherwise this video would have been 45 minutes long. Listening to the show is quite an enjoyable way to hear some of the old famous actors and actresses having a good time entertaining the troops. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch the video, and if you enjoyed it, please leave a like.